Damian Wayne is the son of Batman and the current Robin in the comics and the New 52 movies. He was raised by the League of Assassins to be the ultimate soldier and killing machine. He's only 10 years old, but through his early years, he was subjected to brutal training such as climbing mountains on his own.
I know these mountains well. I've been climbing them since I was 4. It was a part of my training. First time I climbed, I fell, broke my wrist. I made it to the top anyway. It was expected.
Along with some very intensive fighting training in all forms of martial arts and how to use all weapons and firearms, and because of this he has killed quite a lot of people as well. How many exactly is unknown and will likely grow as more writers add to it through the coming years, but this video is going to go through 5 people that Damian Wayne has killed. First we have the Spook in Batman issue 657. This story arc was when Batman met Damian for the first time and was adapted into the film Son of Batman. Damian is given to Batman by his mother, Talia al Ghul, and Batman takes him to the Batcave and, quite frankly, doesn't actually know what to do with him. Damian is acting like his normal angry self, so Batman locks him in a room in the mansion where he works out his next move. Damian is angry about this and angry about not having a laptop and his sword, so Batman tells him off and tells him that he's only acting angry and belligerent out of fear and that his behaviour shames his sensei. Damian appears to be properly chastised, and Batman goes out to stop a supervillain called the Spook, who has taken some hostages in Gotham City. However, when Batman arrives, he discovers that the Spook is missing his head. Meanwhile, back in the Batcave, the Tim Drake version of Robin walks in to find Damian Wayne sparring. He tries to be friendly to him, but Damian rebuffs his efforts and reveals that he believed Batman had offered him a challenge. Locking him in the room in the mansion and leaving him alone was a test to see if he could escape and fight crime. But Damian's version of crime fighting involves murder, and he pulls out the severed head of the Spook and tells Tim Drake that he fought crime and crime lost. He then attacks Tim Drake, declaring that Batman no longer has need for a surrogate son, as he has a real son now. He actually loses this fight and almost dies when he is almost bitten in half by the mechanical dinosaur that is in the Batcave. Tim Drake pulls him out of its jaws and saves his life, and Damian repays this kindness by sucker punching Tim Drake. This is pretty much why he and Tim Drake never really get along from then on. Next we have Otto Netz in Batman Incorporated Leviathan. Otto Netz had Batman hostage and was about to kill him with 500,000 volts of electricity to the heart, so Damian threw a knife through his skull to stop him, killing him instantly. In his eyes it was the only way to save his father's life. Now I don't fully see why he couldn't have just thrown something else to knock Otto Netz out, but in the heat of the moment and the panic of seeing his father about to die, Damian most likely responded with the quickest and safest course of action to save his father's life, at least safest in his own eyes. And to be fair, his throw might not have knocked Otto Netz out, and killing him may have been the only way to save his father. Damian is actually very sorry about this being after Batman has had time to teach him that killing criminals is wrong.
It's easier my way.
It has nothing to do with easy. It's about doing what's right because it's right, and that's the only reason you need.
The third kill is Morgan Descartes in Batman and Robin Volume 2, Issue 7. This story is pretty much the same as the film Batman vs. Robin. Morgan Descartes, codenamed Nobody, sees that Damian is hiding his true nature and is stopping himself from killing the criminals he catches. And so he manipulates events so that Robin leaves Batman and joins him, saying that he won't hold him back and will let him be true to his killer nature.
This is where you choose sides, once and for all.
So Damian betrays Batman and joins Morgan Descartes and abducts a criminal with him, an ambassador who is running an illegal human trafficking network and using his diplomatic immunity to get away with it. However, it turns out that Damian was faking all along and only pretended to go along with Morgan Descartes so that he and Batman could bring him to justice quicker. And as Morgan Descartes lowers the ambassador into a vat of acid to kill him, Damian shows his real colours and attacks Morgan Descartes, but is outclassed and unable to save the ambassador. He is only 10 years old after all, and this is a fully grown man who has actually beaten Batman in hand-to-hand combat before. Fortunately for Damian though, at this point Batman arrives, having tracked a GPS signal that Damian had sent out. Batman is able to defeat Morgan Descartes and almost kills him in his rage, but stops himself just short after seeing Damian watching him. After all, Batman has given lectures to Damian many times about holding his temper in check and not killing.
You've never felt vengeful?
Every day. You have to keep your center, Damian. You can't fight crime by becoming a criminal.
So Batman has to hold himself to the same standard. And as Batman is planning how they'll get out of the villain's lair, Damian goes over to Morgan Ducard and forces his fingers between Ducard's nose and forehead, killing him instantly. He does this because Ducard knows who they are and wants revenge on Bruce Wayne, and he is skilled enough to escape any prison, so the only solution to stop him is to kill him. And as Damian says, he does this because he's protecting their castle and protecting their kingdom. Basically, Damian Wayne is very protective of his father. Next we have Zsasz. Now, this is a strange one because Damian actually kills Zsasz twice. This takes part in the Injustice universe, and originally in the Injustice comic book, Zsasz murdered Alfred in Year 5, Issue 23. For more details on this, see my video about Alfred's death. A link to this is in this video's description. Then, in Injustice Year 5, Issue 36, Damian kills Zsasz in revenge for Zsasz killing Alfred. However, in the Injustice 2 video game, this is changed. Instead of killing Zsasz in revenge for Alfred's murder, Damian kills Zsasz to prove a point to Batman that some criminals just can't be redeemed or changed and have to be killed.
You didn't raise me. The League of Assassins did. Problem solved. Who's next?
Damn it, Damian! This is a line we do not cross.
Though Batman obviously does disagree about this, and Damian ends up leaving Batman's side and joining Superman's regime. For the full scene of this from the video game, check out the link in this video's description. Now, some people have said that the Injustice comics and the video game are separate, but they are actually supposed to be the same continuity. That was the point of the comic in the first place, to fill in the blanks of what happened in the Injustice universe outside of the video game. So basically, it appears that this was all just a cock-up by the game makers, though hopefully in the Injustice 2 comic book the writer will retcon this, and either change the timeline or have Zsasz cloned or some such so that this makes sense. Damian actually has another kill in Injustice, and it's a very important one. He kills Batman's adopted son, Dick Grayson, in Injustice Year 1, Issue 16. Now, he doesn't intend to do this, and it is in fact an accident. Damian throws his Kai stick at Dick Grayson in frustration, and Dick Grayson doesn't see it coming like Damian thought he would, and it knocks him out and he falls to the floor, breaking his neck. For the full story, see my other video, a link is again in this video's description. Now, Damian is extremely sorry over this and didn't intend to kill him. After all, Dick Grayson was actually the only Robin that Damian really got along with. But none of this matters to Batman, he just sees it as Damian murdering his competition for Batman's affections. And this event, along with Damian's belief that killing criminals is the best course of action, is effectively what causes Batman to cut ties with Damian forever.
You're dead to me.
Damian also kills several anonymous ninjas in Son of Batman. Though I'm not counting these as part of the 5 he's killed because they are unnamed cannon fodder. And that is 5 people that Damian Wayne has killed. Now, a lot of debate goes into whether Damian Wayne is a criminal or not, and whether it's right for Batman to have him as a sidekick. After all, he has murdered people, and the debate really is about whether he should be punished for that. But in all fairness, Damian was mind-washed by Ra's al Ghul from day one, and coerced into killing others by being taught that it was the right thing to do. And he did all this as a child. So in reality, there isn't a jury in the land that would actually condemn him for this. He was mind-washed and too young to truly be responsible for his actions, and so he doesn't need punishment, he needs help. And I think the Batman sees it this way, and that's why he keeps him around and hasn't handed him over to the authorities. That and the fact that he is of course his son. Basically, he sees that Damian has a lot of anger and a lot of skills at fighting, and he looks at him just as he looked at Jason Todd before and sees that if he doesn't help him, he'll most likely become a criminal.
But still so full of potential and power. But I knew, even from the beginning, he was dangerous. If I hadn't made him into Robin, he would have grown to do wrong.
So we might as well help him channel all that anger, channel all those skills into fighting crime, rather than being a criminal mastermind. And to Batman's credit, Damian Wayne does get better over time, and eventually decides to no longer kill. But what do you think? Do you think it's right for Damian Wayne to get help from Batman and carry on as Robin, even though he is a murderer? Or do you think what Damian has done is too terrible for forgiveness, and that he needs to pay for his crimes? Be sure to let us know in the comments, and I'd just like to say a quick thank you to those of you who made this video possible by donating to Needle Mouse Productions page on Patreon. Patreon is a crowdfunding site that is helping us to bring you more videos each week, and to raise funds to adapt comic books into short animated films. And I'd just like to give a quick shout out to Zachary McDonald. As a Patreon member, he has say in what videos are made, and he specifically requested this video, which is why I made it. And as always, thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment.